Paratalk is a member of Radio.com. Download the app, search Paratalk Radio. One word. That's it. Pretty easy peasy. Radio.com.
WLFE DB Radio is on Spotify with all its great shows like Across the Pond, Inside the Drag Closet, Step into the Paranormal, Just Cindy, Where's My Sage, Unfiltered Talks with Bryce, Metal Mayhem ROC, Paratalk Radio, Real Talk with Dom, and more. So download the Spotify app today to stay connected to all your WLFE DB Radio shows.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.
Hey guys and dolls, this is Casey DeVille, the better half of DeVille Inc., Baltimore, Maryland. If you're ever in Baltimore, stop in and see me and Tony. Invisible Brie, 5920 Eastern Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Give us a call if you're in the area, 410-400-9641. Or look us up on the web at DeVilleInc.com. DeVille Inc., where we specialize in you.
You're listening to WLFE DB Radio. Now, back to our program.
In the small hollow in North Carolina, there have been several Bigfoot sightings.
Hunters may need to be on the lookout for something other than deer when they hit the woods this week.
He hadn't been spotted recently, but according to these pictures, the legendary Mothman is back.
The number of UFO sightings is soaring tenfold over the past 25 years.
Now, she's not talking about people. She is talking about ghosts hanging around what some say is a real-life haunted house.
You're listening to Paratalk Radio with Ted Wolf and Psychic Cindy on Paratalkradio.com, a member of the WLFE digital broadcast family. Paratalk Radio is your one-stop for all things paranormal, the unknown, and the supernatural. Join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central for discussions and guests on topics such as ghosts, hauntings, Bigfoot, UFOs, and more. This broadcast is rated M for mature and is intended for listeners over 16. The topics, views, and opinions expressed on our show may not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Paratalk Radio, our hosts, or our sponsors. Now, live from J-Wolf Production Studio in Ontario, New York, here are your hosts, Ted and Cindy.
All right, so no Cindy. She's running a little behind tonight, and with this big snowstorm hitting us right now, and I think they're saying 9 to 14 inches here. So on top of what we already got, so we got lots of snow coming. And thank God I put the chains on the tractor, the snowblower on the tractor. Hello, Chanel. Hello, Little Bit. It's going to be a wintry, blustery, cold day tomorrow, but I'm feeling good that hello, Brett. It is TED Talk until Cindy gets here. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. Love you too a little bit. And we have got a gentleman here. We're going to talk UFOs and stuff tonight. So I hope you guys are all strapped in. I'm serious. All strapped in and ready to go. Because, oh, there she is.
Missy. Hi, everybody. I was ready to go, and suddenly my tummy decided that things needed to happen right then.
Ooh, tummy's not doing well, huh?
No,
I'm sorry.
It's okay. My tummy has been off, so if I run, We know why.
I'm sure I forgive you, and I'm sure Ronnie will forgive you too. I mean, so I was just telling the folks that I'm excited because we were talking about UFOs today.
I know. I'm
This is
so
going to be awesome.
excited.
And, you
It's
know,
like
with
a mile long.
I know with the
It was
amount of
crazy.
with the amount of stuff coming out with UFOs lately,
Yeah.
you know, from back in the 60s with the black what is it? The Blue Book, and then now with the God, I can't even talk tonight. The CIA and their black files or folder or whatever the hell they called it. Everything that's coming out. I'm really excited about this. And
I know, right?
I want to hear Ronnie's story. So basically, we're just going to listen and probably go, ooh, ah, ooh, ah.
I love it. I'll do that. Ooh. Look, and I can do it with my eyes too. Ooh.
Oh, you got your lashes on, huh?
Got my lashes on.
There you go. You got to do it like our drag queens there that do like 5 pairs of those puppies on their
I
eye.
know. So I do have mine stacked. I don't think you'd be able to understand or see it, but I do have.
Understand is probably the right word. How you?
I
don't want to know.
layers on.
I mean, I can stack Legos. I can stack, stuff like that. But I don't know about that.
I don't know about eyelashes, Cindy.
That's right. So Bob Burnell's in here, and Little Bit's in here already. So
hi guys.
Yeah, Galvin is in here. Or Kelvin, sorry,
Yes,
not
can
Kelvin.
I say hi to everybody? Oh shoot.
Yeah, go for it. And then we will get Ronnie right in here.
Chanel, I love you. Hi, Little Bit. Hi, Brett. Hi, Barry. Hi. Oh, somebody said hi, Kelvin, but I don't see hi, Kelvin right here. Hi, Kelvin, wherever you are, buddy.
I see Kelvin. I see him.
Okay, maybe I'll see it later. Hi, Bob. Hi, Mark. I can pretend to be Cindy. LOL. Really bad imitation. You're so funny.
And Mr. Robert White from Australia is in there. Let's see. Mackenzie Ray is joining us over on my watch party.
There's Calvin. I see you now, buddy.
Yeah. David Murphy is on my watch party as well. So they're all coming in from there. Lots of places.
Did you see Chanel? She's like, Robert, you can come. I mean, wrong. Like, sorry. I will not behave.
There you go.
That's right. We will not behave.
There's T. Roy's husband, Kevin.
Hi,
Hi,
Kevin.
Kev. Wow, this is going to be a fun night.
Yes, you guys, I'm so excited. And I shared it out on my Cindy and my Psychic Cindy page.
There you go.
So that's what I was doing, by the way. That's what I was doing. I was sharing that out, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh.
Ooh, tummy.
Oh. Oh.
So I got a question. Has the snow started hitting you yet up there?
So yeah, we've already started getting the snow. You guys haven't?
We've gotten about an inch. That's it right now. We don't have much.
Oh, well, it was already coming down a lot harder than that. I'm certain we have more than an inch already.
Yeah. Well, they're saying 9 to 14, so we'll see what happens.
I know. Listen, I like it 9 to 14. I mean, no, I don't.
You're terrible. You're terrible.
I like it smaller than that.
Don't make me spit out my tea. Behave yourself.
I mean, 6 to 7 to 8.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys, you know how things are here. So before I bring Ronnie in real quick, I'm going to read the bio that I got for him. It says, a bizarre alien UFO experience by Ronnie Dawson. I hate calling him Ronnie because he's an adult. I'd rather call him Ron, but we'll call him Ronnie.
Why not Ronnie? I call my friends by their
all right.
Why?
All right.
Oh, you call me Cindy? Oh wait, that's my name. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Ronnie Dawson, Texas oil field worker. Dawson came across the aliens in their craft while working nights in a Texas oil field. For 30 years, he never encountered anything like the event that began in 2010. Folks, 2010 wasn't that far ago. That was only 11 years ago.
11, that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I saw that, I was like, holy shit balls.
Yeah, and it still continues to this day. His experience includes many UFO sightings, including the flyover of a mile-long craft, cattle abduction, oh my goodness, alien home invasion, paranormal activity around his house, his home, death of a co-witness, Aliens First Contact, Dimensional Travel to Alien Galaxy, Alien Planet Observation, Genetic Sample Donations via Sexual Contact with Non-Human Species. Oh my goodness, there's a lot here. Sample Donations via Sexual Contact with Non-Human Species. That's what it said. Spiritual separation from the body, experience of moving through solid matter. Oh, that would be weird. That would be weird. If you could see that, like going through solid matter, that would be just like strange. But anyways, and and disclosure conversation with representative alien entities. The ebook contains links to images captured by Dawson, as well as radio interview by Dawson telling his amazing story. Ronny Dawson has
those eye teeth are getting in the way.
Yeah, exactly.
The tongue
in front of the eye
teeth.
teeth. That's it.
Yes.
And he's been on many news publications, including Metro News, Inquisitor, Blasting News, Caught on Camera, and Japanese TV. I mean, he's been on. Yeah, he's been on. So you know what? Let's just get him in here. So everybody, what's that?
I gotta say this. So we were talking about how many inches we had here. Brett says we are getting pounded here, also like an inch of ice.
Oh, they're getting ice
but
too.
They're getting pounded.
Crazy.
That was the imperative part I needed you to hear. And Barry says they don't have any snow yet in Montezuma. You are so lucky.
Oh, crazy.
Portals and astrals morphing through matter. Oh my!
Yeah. All right, let's get Ronny in here.
But I added the oh my because it sounded like,
Ronny's been sitting in his car because they just got power back. They've been without power for 17 hours. So
where does he live?
Well, we're going to find all that out. We're going to bring him in right now. All right. Welcome, Ronny, to the show.
Hi, Ronny.
Hey, it's good to be here on Paratalkradio with you, Ted and Cindy.
Well, he has an accent. Let me see. I think Texas. Oh, wait, that's right. Texas oil fields.
Yeah.
Wow, you're smart.
I'm such a clever one.
Yeah, I live here in North Central Texas. Yeah, in Ranger, Texas.
Nice.
Yes. And you have snow there too?
We have no electricity for the last 17 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, parts of Texas got snow. Yeah.
Yeah, 3,000 people in my hometown without electricity.
Oh my God.
And we lost internet and phone service.
Oh my gosh. Like cell towers too?
Yeah, no power, no phones, and no internet.
Wow.
My sons were I was just telling them, I'm like, listen, guys, we do not live in a time or place where we can be completely reliant on phone service and stuff. This stuff can be taken out at any time. They're like, no, it can't, Mom. I'm like, I'm telling you right now that it can be. And they're like, that's not possible. And they both were fighting with me. So now, thank you, Ronny, for proving me right.
Yeah, we've actually been playing board games today. Board games.
Fun. Yes, I love board games. And not B-O-R-E-D games, but B-O-R-A-D games.
Robert White's like, 17 hours with no internet? The horror.
Yeah, and two teenagers.
So, God, see? Wow. That's what I have. I have two boys.
That's crazy.
Teenagers, 16 and almost 18.
I was hoping I was going to be able to make it here tonight, man. It wasn't looking good. I got phone signal about 30 minutes before the show, so.
Oh my goodness, that's perfect. But if
I hope it hangs in there for us.
Well, it knew we wanted to talk to you. This was important. It knew it. It just knew it.
This possible. Please, you guys, say thank you to your alien friends. They're like, "Arg this, we need Ronny to talk."
Right.
All right. So let's now. First and foremost, you have a book on this, on your experiences.
Yeah, I decided to put it in a story. It's called the Ronny Dawson UFO Story. It's available in Barnes & Noble, Amazon. You can even order the book from Walmart.
Cool.
That's awesome.
And in June, I'll be speaking at my first UFO conference. I've been invited to the UFO MegaCon in Lawson, Nevada.
Oh,
and it's going to be my first conference to get to speak at.
Fun.
Cool.
So
I'll be.
I'm kind of nervous.
Nah.
I'll be speaking in front of 2,000 people. So,
but that's
no,
okay.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Just, like, take a deep breath, and you'll be like, "Listen, I'm informing people," and that's where it starts, right?
Yeah, in front of a 15-foot screen. So yeah, it's going to be. It's going to be a little bit of a culture shock. I do radio shows in the seat of my car.
Yeah. Listen, you got to start somewhere, Ronnie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's taken me 11 years to hit the big time.
Yes, Johnny Robbins, I see you.
But
right.
Yeah.
Hi, Carters. How are you?
It's a wild story.
I know.
Right.
How long is our show tonight?
Well, normally 90 minutes. Normally 90 minutes.
90 minutes. Okay.
Yep. So, guys, I'm going to put a link up for his book, so you guys can.
We talk.
Yep. So, and we will try. We have to remember that there's a delay, Ronnie. So we have to make sure that you're aware. That's all, and we will do our best not to step on you so that you can say what you need to say. That's a direct link to Amazon for his book, by the way. So
is that the whole link?
It's from Amazon. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. So
okay, good.
If we can find the actual book somewhere, maybe Robert can find it for us. We'll put it up there. That's the one I found real quick.
Okay.
Okay.
Breakfast,
all right, Ronnie. So
yeah, it's essentially an ebook, and it's on it, and I've kept the price low, like $4.99 for the ebook. Well, they're going to find out. I guess people are wanting a printed version, so all of a sudden they started printing copies of it. So
wow.
I didn't even know they could print an ebook, but I had to get my mother one of those, for Christmas.
There you go.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I had to pay full price for it.
All right, so why don't we go into your experience right from the beginning? Like set the mood for us. What happened, and then we'll get right into it.
Start at the beginning, honey. We need to hear the deets.
Okay. Well, I've been hauling crude oil since 1985 here in Texas and out in West Texas around the Midland, Odessa area. I basically load crude oil into a crude oil transport truck, and then I transport it to the pipeline and unload it. I essentially buy the oil at the lease and then transport it to the unload station where we put it in our pipeline. I've been doing this since 85, and up until 2009, I had never seen a UFO or anything. I've seen meteors and everything that you could imagine seeing out there at night. We stand out there at night and do we watch our tankers load full of oil, and we're outdoors and we see a lot of lights and satellites and shooting stars and you name it, we've seen it. I never saw a UFO, but about 2009, I was out there and started seeing some weird stuff. I mean, some lights moving over the trees that would come on, would move over the trees, disappear. I seen some drop to the field, sat there for a second, then pop up 200 feet, and then be joined by a second one, and then both disappear. So there was some weird stuff that I'd never seen before. And it couldn't be explained because I was out in the middle of nowhere. There was no way it could be a drone or anything like that. There was no explanation for what I was seeing. And I still I called them mystery lights. I didn't want to call them UFOs. They were too small to be UFOs. They were like glowing spheres of light that are moving around the trees and stuff. And so I just called them mystery lights, and I would talk to other people, and they'd say, well, they think it was military helicopters doing night exercises, and everybody had their own guess as to what these lights were, but I wasn't the only one seeing them. A lot of people were. My first clue that it was alien was I seen a row of 6 lights come on up on the road up ahead of me, and I observed them for about 5 minutes, and then as I was approaching them, going down the highway, that was essentially going to drive right underneath the things, and 3 of them broke off to travel a quarter mile to my left out over a field. They shined this blue beam down to the ground, and there was something in the blue beam that was moving up in the beam itself, and I couldn't make out what it was. But as I got closer to it, I looked over there and I could tell that it was a cow, and it's whipping its head side to side. It was about 30 feet off the ground being lifted inside the light.
Holy!
And there was like a bobblehead doll looking thing walking around over there in a fluorescent yellow green light next to it. And all this happened within about 2 minutes. So it happened very quickly.
Wow.
And I was thinking about stopping and trying to find my accident camera and get some pictures of it. But once I seen that it was a cow and it was in the lights, I kind of woke up to the fact that these guys probably aren't from around here, and that I could be next. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't want to find out what they were going to do with that cow firsthand. So I decided just to keep going and pretend I didn't see anything. And I kept checking my mirrors to make sure they weren't following me.
Let me get up out of here. Yes.
Somebody likes
to vacate the area. I was happy to vacate the area.
Yeah.
And it was quite a wake up call. But I kept seeing the lights and stuff like that. And then I started seeing a black craft. And this was in the daylight. It was in the late afternoon. It wasn't even at night. I was on private property, and I seen this black, what looked like a cloud over this rural farm home.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, the place is on fire, maybe. So I thought, I'm going to get closer to it, and I'm going to see if it's a fire. I need to call that fire department or something. Right. But as I got closer to it, 4 big white lights came on in it, and I could tell by the color of the lights that it was UFO lights. And this thing started moving away from the house, and I was basically following it in my truck in the late afternoon. And then all of a sudden, I was going, man, it's crazy to be chasing a UFO in your crude transport truck, but that's exactly what was going on. I was following this thing. It looked like it was maybe 80 to 100 yards long, and it had 4 white lights that was scattered throughout the middle of it. And it didn't look like white lights. It looked like white light shining out of a porthole window is what it is. Every time I've seen it, that's exactly what it looks like. Wow. Something inside the ship is glowing through opening in the ship, And Ron,
then I thought, Ronnie, I want to interrupt you for a second. I want to interrupt you for a second because everything you're saying, I want to react to a couple of these things. The first off, with the cow going up here, we have not heard of anything like that since, I don't know, 70s and 80s, really, that I've heard of cows being, sucked up. But now you're making me think like there's lights coming out of a portal. It kind of reminds me, maybe they got the cow in a microwave. They're hungry or something.
Oh my God. Well, the funny part is in the comments, Robert says, Space McDonald. Chanel says, I do love a good ribeye. Robert says, obviously, so do they. And then Kristen says, E.T. phone home. Just kidding.
Oh, my goodness. Go ahead.
Cows are heavy animals. And, and when you pick a cow up, if you pick a cow up with a rope, it's going to be like a teardrop because of its weight. Right. This thing was being picked up at kind of an angle. It wasn't like it was somebody had harpooned a cow and was winching it up. It was being lifted in an odd manner with his head down, but you could tell that it wasn't picked up using like weight, like we'd know it. It was like the cow was floating up, and the cow was whipping its head from side to side, and I could see its. I couldn't tell what it was until I seen it whipping its head side to side. Then I realized, oh my God, that's a cow. It was it was a shock.
They are not light. Those are heavy animals.
And then we used to move horses and cows, like you could get a helicopter and you could move them, like when you pulled them out of a pond and stuff, and you put that harness on them and it goes up under the belly, under their leg, up through to a big notch, and then you can lift them up. But there is sag there. So you usually get that, like you were saying, you get that kind of weird, angle. But you said it wasn't like that. So that's definitely strange.
No, its rear end was like floating up at a 45-degree angle from its head. Its head was down,
Wow.
And yeah, it was being sucked up fairly quickly. And the whole time that they from the time they grabbed it till they lifted it up in the air 30 feet was like 2 minutes. You couldn't do that with a helicopter,
No, no way.
It was it was incredibly. They were working pretty quick, and it was pretty scary. And you know what? There was a lady. I seen a lady that it was on a MUFON sighting. She had caught a picture of a cow being lifted up in a black light. It was one of their cows, and it was in the Winters, Texas area, which is probably not 40 miles from where I saw this cow being taken.
Wow.
Oh, no kidding.
She actually got a picture of it. I seen the picture. You couldn't tell that it was a cow, but you could see something dark blue in a lighter blue light. And that's exactly the way my light looked and the cow looked.
Well, I don't know. Johnny just asked, well, because we have several people, the Carters say, so moral of the story, don't go into the light. Debbie Davis says, do y'all really believe what you're saying? Kristen Holmes, astro projection cows. That one killed me. That was hysterical.
That one's funny. Astro projection cows. That's funny.
Johnny says, I wonder if aliens like steak and burgers like we do. Maybe that's all they are doing when they abduct. But what about when they're abducting humans? So you're saying they like human meat? Ew! Barry says, a cow abduction.
That's weird.
Well, they asked me, did the cow die? What happened to the cow? I'm going, man, I don't know. I got the heck out of there. I don't know if they put the cow back.
The weird part is when you're talking
the cow was
about
dead.
Right.
I have no idea.
You're talking about this. All I can think of is genetic testing, and that's all that was going through my head is when you were talking about the abduction of the cows is genetic testing. Like,
well, we do know the cows are not intelligent.
Well, but it's that they do testing on us too, right? That's supposedly what happens, right? Is that they do testing on us, right?
Right.
But I you can't throw it, Jansen Sky.
I will.
You cannot throw it.
Throwing it.
So it's freezing. Oh, geez, where I am.
All right, so let's let Ronnie go back in and finish the story.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
I never thought I'd see anything more crazier than that at that time. but yeah, I started getting to see some crafts, and I was trying to get some pictures of them, but it was like they're watching you. I mean, as soon as I would grab my electronic device, my phone or my camera, they would blink out. I mean, it was like they were watching me. They would allow me to see them, and as soon as I tried to photograph or record them, they would blink out. And it was very frustrating to try to get a picture of the craft. And it was exciting to see a craft, but I was determined to get a picture of the craft, and they were preventing me from doing that because every time I would grab my phone and point it at them, they would just blink out. It would just disappear instantly.
Well, you've got some pictures here because I actually downloaded them so we could show them. Are those your pictures?
Yeah, eventually I did manage to catch some pictures.
That's crazy.
And this is a picture. The picture that you're looking at there is of the mile-long craft. It's a tight V. Each half of the V is a half mile long. Wow. And this thing filled the sky. You have to realize this thing is above the tree line, and it filled the sky. Wow. I mean, you couldn't. It wasn't hard to see if you would have been there. I mean, it was. This is a moving craft at night, taken with a flip phone. So you can imagine how big this thing had to be for my flip phone to catch anything. And it wasn't. It was a monstrous craft. It flew right over the top of my head, and it banked upward. It stopped, and it banked up, and then it shot away at the speed of a jet or faster. And then it was leaving so fast, I was afraid I was going to miss it. Oh. And I looked at the camera's display screen, and in horror, all I could see was black. And then all of a sudden, I pointed my camera at the thing, and I hit the button, praying that I would catch something. And just about the time that I did that, the thing banked and started coming back at me. I mean, it came to a dead stop, and it did a flip. And I was looking at the bottom of the craft, which was solid rock, and it had burn marks and crater marks on the bottom of it. And there's these huge pipe things sticking out of the bottom of it. And I couldn't see what was on the surface of the craft, but if the craft would have fell to the ground, it would have crushed me, it would have crushed my truck, it would have crushed the battery. It was probably 50 yards on both sides of me at least. And I don't know how thick it was, but it was pretty thick. Like it had had an interior, and on the surface of the thing, when it shot away and banked back at me, I could see the surface of the thing. So it was like a city built on a rock.
Woo, that's crazy.
Do you think that's, sorry to interrupt, but do you think that's like, I'm picturing like the size of an aircraft carrier, right?
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, each half of the V was a half mile long.
Wow.
It filled the sky. And then when it banked back at me, I could see the buildings and structures on the top of it. There was blue glowing power lines that stretched across the surface. There was building structures on it. There was like it was like a volcano that had like 4 blades inside of it. I was taking all this in and praying that I caught something on my camera. I was seeing it with my naked eye, as well as hoping that I was catching it on my camera. I didn't catch the whole craft, but you have to realize that this thing was a mile away when the camera video started rolling, and it was still larger than the camera's field of view at a mile away. So that tells you it was more than the camera's field of view at a mile away is about a quarter mile. So that tells you that from a mile away, it's still wider than the camera could record. So basically what I thought was the left half of the left side of it.
Wow, that's crazy. It kind of reminds me
the stuff that was on the surface of it.
It kind of reminds me of like what you would see in a movie where like this alien ship's been on Earth all these years and then it just lifts up and takes off.
Well, you have to consider the Oumuamua comet that came by us. The interstellar object, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it was solid rock. This thing was solid rock, and it had a city built on the surface of it. So
that's amazing.
I can't guarantee you that these aren't the same guys that sent that Oumuamua here to check us out.
Wow.
And I saw this before that thing ever showed up, and people laughed at my UFO. They called it the Flintstone UFO. Yeah, because it was made of rock. It's like, the Flintstone UFO finally showed up. So
that's great.
You see something that amazing. Hey, to see something that amazing fly right over the top of your head. This happened in 2011. This thing went right over the top of my head. But on that night, I saw 3 UFOs. The huge mothership was the second UFO. The first UFO was a small craft that was when I was driving into an oil lease, and it came off of the ground through the trees, and then it passed right over the top of my truck. And I was hanging out of the window at the waist with my camera, trying to get my camera to open up so I could get a picture of it. So I'm still driving, hanging out of the window up to my waist, trying to get a shot of the thing. And it just went to black. It just disappeared right before I could get a picture, but it reappeared. And then later it approached my location, and this thing got scary close. I could see the disc blocking out the stars as it was moving at me. And that's a horrifying experience to see that blackness coming at you. And then the disc got straight over my head, and I could look up and see the edge of that disc right over the top of me. And then all of a sudden, this big light came on in this compartment underneath the craft, and my knees were shaking so bad I was wanting to run just for my life, but my knees were shaking so bad I couldn't hardly walk.
Wow.
But I traveled over to a hiding place, and I hid. And that light came on underneath the craft. I leaned around the craft and took a picture with my cell phone of the lit compartment inside the bottom of the craft. And inside that compartment, there was something staring and looking out of me. And you can see that in one of the pictures I sent too. Right there, you can see that thing looking out of that lit compartment underneath there. You can see the edge of the disc right there,
where the arrow is, the bigger arrow.
Yeah, and those red lights that you see, those lights, they stretch like taffy. It looked like that with the naked eye. That wasn't a camera. Those lights looked like light smear. It looked like grease smeared across a glass or something. I don't know if it was because of the magnetism of the craft or what. But I was scared to death, and I looked around my hiding spot, and I saw that light come on, and I seen that object inside that thing looking my direction. And then I went back and hid, and I looked around, and I seen how dark it was there, and I was just thinking something's going to come running at me from the dark with slimy hands, and it was it's fun watching it's fun watching sci-fi horror, but I guarantee it's no fun living it. Now that is the big craft, and the bottom part of that picture is the star field in the background of that area at that time in the direction that I was looking. There was an astrology professor from St. Petersburg, Florida, asked me to match up some of the star field in the background of the object so he could get an idea of how big it was. And I scanned through the footage that I had, and I found the star field in behind the UFO, and it verified how big and that the thing was actually there that night where I said in the direction I was looking at the time. I said so, and also
that's huge.
They challenged me to file a FAA report, which would be a felony to file a false report. They said, if you really saw this thing and you're not faking it, prove it to us. File a FAA report and know that it's a felony offense to file a false report. Well, I'm so confident that what I saw was there, and I had the footage of it. I've got nothing to hide. I filed a FAA report on this thing. In that FAA report, I never called it a UFO. I called it an extremely large aircraft that was too low to the ground to be safe. And I filed an FAA report, give them the time, the latitude, longitude, where I was at. And we did a phone conference call with several members of the FAA. And in the phone conference call, they said that all known craft were accounted for without incident, and that I should report my UFO to the National UFO Reporting Center, Newport. And they give me the contact info.
FAA said that to you?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they called it a UFO. FAA called it. Now we got a problem. No, if a mile-long craft can fly into U.S. airspace,
and
the FAA knows it. Shouldn't somebody take notice of this?
Wait, so they said that they did see it as well?
They did not say what they did or did not see. They just said that all known craft were accounted for without incident.
Mm-hmm.
So which means
there was an unknown craft.
Right.
And they referred to it as a UFO. It suggested I report it to Newport, National UFO Reporting Center.
Wow. And did you do that?
Yeah, I did, but it's a hassle. They're gonna catalog the sighting, but it's not gonna go anywhere from there.
Yeah.
Peter Davenport was that place. He's a nice old fella, and he is busy as heck just cataloging the sightings. He doesn't have a whole lot of time to be doing research and stuff. His hands are so full of just cataloging what people have seen.
Right. So I was going to ask you, has MUFON gotten a hold of this?
Yeah, Teresa Turner, the Texas UFO MUFON director herself, actually came down to the sighting location.
Nice.
And I give a very edited report to MUFON. I have a conspiracy buddy that and he's telling me, he goes, man, those guys are crooked. They're in with the government. He goes, don't tell them a damn thing. He goes, you better not tell them about the giant mothership, And he said, just tell them you saw some lights and he said, you're going to end up dead in the back of a Hummer, right? So I'm thinking, I said, well, I guess we'll find out because I'm fixing to meet this lady at the sighting location. And he said, yeah, you're going to end up dead in the back of this Hummer. And then I talked to this lady. Her name is Teresa Turner, and she's the head of MUFON in Texas. And she said, yeah, I'm just about there. She said, I'll be driving a black Hummer. So I called my friend, and I said, oh, shit, Rick. I said, she's driving a black Hummer. And he goes, yeah, and your dead ass is fixed to be in the back of it.
Oh, ironic.
If we don't hear anything from you, Ronnie, I'll let everybody know who it was.
Right.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Right. And when this, I seen this big craft pass over, and I tell you what, to see that is something absolutely amazing. I can't begin to tell you how amazing it is to witness this thing fly over the top of your head. To live through the experience and to not be taken, to get to see all this. When this thing circled my location and then it shot off at a 45-degree angle and went from a huge giant craft to just some dots moving across the sky again, I was jumping up and down cheering like a high school cheerleader. And I was like, it rocked my world, man. I swear to God, I was like a high school cheerleader that just got invited to the prom, man. I was like, it was exciting to see this and to not be taken and see it leave. And my camera, I feel my memory plumb full getting pictures and video. I mean, it wouldn't take another shot. And when I left this location, I got about a mile from there, and there was a double wide mobile home that sets off the road. And I seen something over the top of this thing, and I thought, you know what? That looks like a star in the distance. And then as I got closer, I said, you know what? That is not a star. That is something over these people's double wide mobile home.
Oh my God!
I stopped my truck. I shot my light. I shine my spotlight on my truck at it. I shine my spotlight on my truck at the house. I blow the horn. I try to get their attention. And this thing realized that I was watching it. And the bottom of it lit up. This triangular opening on the bottom of this craft lit up. And it was a triangular opening. And it had these bluish white lights like I'd seen on almost every UFO. And it came on around the circle in the bottom of it. The triangle opening was so big you probably could have put a Cessna airplane into it.
Wow.
And it was so lit up on the inside of it. This thing was moving away and it made a hum, and I could actually see up into the bottom of this UFO at the inside of the UFO. And it had these ductwork and piping and stuff on the frame of the inside of the craft. It almost looked like a rib cage or something. It looked like no human hand had ever touched it. It looked like something you'd see from one of the Alien movies on the inside the crafts. Yeah, there was no way that we got anything that looked like. I've been inside C-130s and stuff like that, and I've been to air shows, and I've never seen any U.S. technology that had looked anything like this on the inside. And I could not take a picture of it because my camera, I kept opening it up, and it said memory full, not available. Memory full picture.
Oh no! So I bet you carry extras with you now.
Oh my God! Yeah, it was quite a night, and it was full. I kid you not. It was I was telling everybody. I was calling my girlfriend up. I was sending her pictures as I could find them.
Wow! How long did this actually happen as a time span? I'm curious.
This whole thing probably took place over a 1 hour period.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Now, has anybody else seen it, Ronnie? Did anybody else say that they had seen the same thing you have?
I've had several people contact me, and I've seen some of the pictures, and some of the pictures are people that look like they've caught the pictures of the same craft.
Wow.
I've seen pictures that looked like it was of the same craft, but they were like a lot further away than I was.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, there's several people who have seen this thing, and there was a few other reportings in the area of craft that looked very similar to that and was of a massive size like this one was. So, yeah, there's a lot of sightings near, that looked like it could be the same thing. I can't say for sure that it was or not. I don't know for a fact that it was, but yeah, this wasn't the first thing. This thing has been spotted in the neighborhood.
I have a question, Ronnie. Did you ever think to go to that double wide and ask if they knew anything? Had anything happened before?
I did. Yeah, I did. About the same day that the Teresa Turner lady came over there to talk about the UFO, I stopped over there and I actually talked to the people, and I told them what I had seen. Mm-hmm. And they said that their grandmother had lived at the house with them, and that she had often remarked that the lights would come across the field right up to her window. She said the lights would come off the field right up to my window. She said the lights came and visited me again last night, and she was a pretty old lady, and they just thought she was nuts or something. But she said the lights visited me again last night. She said they would come up and they would shine in her bedroom, and her bedroom faced a field, and there wasn't a road or anything like that over there where her side of the house was. That was in the same house that I saw this UFO over.
So
and
this
they
started
would totally dismiss it because they thought she was just old and seeing things, or
Probably, but
she was making things up, right?
yeah, and the other thing is like this happened in 2011. So since 2011, what else have you experienced? Have you seen more?
Well, in 2010 was a year before the 2011 sighting was when I had the alien home invasion.
What?
It was 1 year prior to that mothership sighting that I had the alien home invasion.
And what is that? Please
you got to explain
what
that.
alien home invasion is. Come on.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, this 1 year before I saw the mothership and recorded the mothership and filed the FAA report and stuff like that. I had a friend here in town, Alan Osterseal was his name. And I had been seeing the UFO craft, but I had not been able to get a picture of them. And I said, man, you got to help me do some UFO hunting. I said, I had a green classroom laser that was a 250 milliwatt, which is a little bit more powerful than you'd want to use in a classroom.
Right.
You can mount somebody's.
I have one.
Okay,
actually.
yeah. So it just shoots a green beam for about 5 miles. Okay. I was trying to think outside the box because I was having a debate with a bunch of skeptics and stuff, and every time you get a picture of a UFO light, they just tell you it could be a street light or something. So I was wanting to do something outside the box with my buddy. I was like, look, I want you to take the camera and I want you to film me shooting this laser at the UFO, and if the craft's propulsion system is bending time and space, maybe it would make the laser light appear to be in. And if we could catch that on video, then we would have something really concrete evidence that we could throw at the skeptics and scholars and say, hey, what we're seeing is real, and explain this.
Right. Right.
So that was the plan. So we had this plan, and I had seen 2 UFO sightings in 5 days. And I said, man, I'm seeing a lot of craft. And I said, it's almost like they find me no matter where the hell I'm at. So I'm hoping that it will happen again. And so we had the laser, we had the camera, we set up on a hill he had a house up on a hill out kind of on the edge of town. And I said, we're going to do it in your backyard. And I said, we'll see if these things show up and we can get some footage, and I'll shoot the laser at the craft, and hopefully they won't shoot their laser back.
Right.
And if you can get it on video, we'll be famous, man. We'll prove that UFOs exist, and and scholars and skeptics can eat it,
Right.
That's it. So we were determined to do it, and we were UFO watching with our stuff, and some jets had passed by, and we weren't seeing anything. And I thought, man, with jets in the area, we're not gonna see anything. But we stick around a little bit, and finally the military jets had left. And the military jets had gone away, and it was a clear night. You could see aircraft in the sky and everything. And I said, well, I really don't think we're going to see anything because these jets were in the area. They're not going to come around. And then he told me, he goes, hey, dude, he goes, what is that? And I looked over there, and a 4-light craft had came on about 400 yards away. And it had the same bluish white lights that I'd seen scattered throughout the middle of the craft. And it was probably another 80 to 100 yard long craft with 4 lights in the middle of it. I said, that's it, Al. That's the stuff I've been seeing, man. So I grabbed the laser. I started shining this laser at this thing. And I shot it around it. So I'm shot it around it to see if this thing deviates. It looks like it bends. And
you think that's weird too? Hang on one second, Ronnie. You think that's weird too?
Yeah.
No, you just missed.
You just totally, what you don't know, Ronnie, is you started talking about that part.
It faded a little bit.
Your voice got lower and it sounded a little more mechanically.
Yeah, it did. It sounded. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, it was just weird and synchronistic. We're not saying it's kind of anything at all.
Oh.
But it was interesting as you start talking about this that your voice on the phone started changing. Teddy and I both looked. We're like, what is going on?
You'll have to go back and watch this, Ron.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's still doing it for you too. It's weird. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, they're probably just trying to show me that they're here. They're watching, you know. And
That's what I'm saying. That's
It's
what
happening right
I'm
now.
thinking.
It's happening right now.
Let me just look out your window and look up. Just tell them to leave us alone.
But okay, so I'm shining this laser at this craft, and it's scary because I'm thinking, man, I hope they don't misinterpret what I'm trying to do here. And I'm sitting there shining the laser around the craft, and I did not get the beam deviation that I was hoping to. It was disappointing. I said, all right. I said, dadgummit out. I said, I'm going to shine it on the craft and see if it reflects off of it or what the deal is. And I said, so hang on. And so I started shining it on the craft. Well, the craft just absorbed the light. As the laser hit the craft, it didn't shine like you'd shining it off the side of a car or nothing. It just simply absorbed it. It just nothing. It just like you were shining it onto a piece of black paper or something. It was
that makes
no
sense
reflection,
though.
nothing.
That makes sense for other things I've heard though, because of they were talking about the type of material of the craft itself, and it was a reflection thing that they were talking about. And so that really should have had that been able to be reflected at least or deflected, but it didn't do any of that. And that's kind of what this was coming up from what I had watched as well. So that makes complete sense to me from other things I've heard.
Yeah. And so I was disappointed, but I told Al, I said, I hope you're catching this. I assumed that he had the camera, he had it up and running because he had the camera over by him. So I glanced over at him, and he's standing there with both hands on his hips, and he's just gawking at this thing. The camera's laying on the chair beside him. So he did not catch any footage of the UFO.
Like, what are you doing?
I was like, oh, you're supposed to be recording this, you know? My God, man. And he goes, oh crap, I forgot. He goes, I'm just freaked out trying to figure out what it is. And he grabbed the camera and he started turning it on, and the thing just blinked completely out.
Wow.
It just went dark, and I'm going.
Can I have you do one thing, Teddy? Ronnie, can you go out and come back in and see if that helps the sound?
Yeah, see if it'll reset the sound. If you click out and then click back in like you did in the beginning,
and then come back in.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Oh, look at that.
Oh no, wait, hang on.
Wait.
Okay, talk again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
No, okay, don't click out. It was weird. Okay.
Cindy, I gotta go get a drink. I'll be right
back. I saw
back.
that, honey. Go ahead. Yep, I saw that.
Okay, so
yeah, keep going.
Frustrated. We didn't catch anything on camera. I did not get the beam deviation that I was hoping for. You know, to prove to the UFO world, you know, this thing is spending time or space around with the propulsion system of the craft. So we didn't get no footage. So we really came up empty-handed, even though we got a great UFO sighting, and I had a friend that finally thought I wasn't full of crap because he saw it too, you know?
Right.
So I finally had somebody who I could talk to that would believe me.
And that was 2010, right?
Yeah, that was 2010.
It's doing it again with your voice. It's so weird.
But what is really weird was the next night. Apparently, ET doesn't like you shining UFOs, lasers at their crafts. So the next night, they paid me a little visit at my home.
Holy shit, like your house and not where you were?
No, it wasn't at his house. It was like they followed me home, and they knew where I lived now. And,
well, they also, sometimes you can be abducted without your knowledge, and they can use trackers.
Right. So, I mean, they had been following me, you know, they've been finding me. They had no trouble finding me no matter where I was at. And they found me once again. This was 3 UFO sightings in a 7-day period. And I mean, UFO craft. I'm not talking about mystery lights. I'm talking about UFO craft itself, you know, and lights. And so 3 in 7 days is a pretty big deal, you know. So,
holy cow.
Okay, it was the next night. I came home from work. The first thing that was odd was I have an indoor cat at my house. I have a girlfriend that's living in she's 10 miles in the next town over. She's going to college. We're planning on getting married, but she's got scholarships and stuff like that. So we're separate, but we're basically a couple, but we're living separate. So I'm living alone at my house with my I had this tabby cat that she had given me. So it's just me and the cat. And it's an indoor cat. He's declawed, and it's just me and him. And anyway, I come home and the cat's missing from my house, and I go around looking for the cat. Well, there's a hole clawed in one of my bathroom floors, and it's so big that the cat could get out through the hole. I mean, it was, and I'm like, my God, how could that cat chew a hole in the floor like that? And so I start looking down in the hole and hollering down in the hole, and I could hear the cat meowing down there. So I'm trying to call him, thinking I could grab him and pull him back up through the hole. And he sounds like he's close. So I'm sticking my arm off down in this hole, and I'm reaching around trying to feel the cat up underneath the house. And all of a sudden, I pull my arm back up out of the hole, and I shine a light off down in there in the hole, and I see these two eyes looking at me through the hole. And these are scary looking eyes, man. I'm like, and then I realized that it looked at me briefly, and then it moved away quickly. And I'm like, I don't know that was my cat. It could have been, my God, who knows what could be underneath there, and you're probably really stupid for sticking your arm through that hole down there trying to feel around for whatever it is. I mean, it could be a skunk.
Anything other than that cat would be down there.
It could have been a raccoon. It could have been a skunk. Right. It could have been anything, And I think,
oh, God.
What it was. So, anyway, I got to get my cat from the house, right? So I remove the blocks from the side of my house where you access the underneath of my house where all the plumbing and gas lines and stuff like that is. Well, I undo the blocks, and I noticed that they've been kind of pulled out, like something has pulled these heavy blocks away. And I'm surprised I don't know if the cat would even still be under there. But I pulled the blocks away, and the daylight was shining up underneath there, and here comes the cat. He comes crawling out of there, So I push the blocks back up. I take the cat back in the house and close the door to the restroom where this thing is at. I go get a piece of heavy 30-year tin that's on my roof of my house, and I put 4 big bolts, screws in it into the wood around the hole so the cat can't escape again. Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking, wow, this has been a frustrating day, and it's getting time to go to bed. So, and I have to work the next morning, so I go in there and I lay as soon as I lay down, I leave enough lights on in my house that I can get up and go get a drink of water. I leave lights on in the bathroom where I can get up and go to the bathroom without stumbling over stuff. So my house is not completely dark at night, and it's just me and the cat. So I lay down in bed. And I no sooner lay down in that bed, and then all of a sudden I hear something breaking in the kitchen, and like something's getting knocked over. Glasses are getting knocked over by the sink, and I'm going, what the hell is this cat's doing? So I try to get up out of that bed, and all of a sudden I realize I can't get up out of this bed. Something has me pinned, and it's like this. They've got me stuck to this bed. I cannot move. I mean, the harder I try to force myself to come up, the more force it uses to keep me in there. And I just there's no way I was thinking maybe I'm having a heart attack, and I'm having a stroke, or something's not working right, and all of a sudden I hear stuff in the kitchen again, knocked over. I hear cabinet drawers opening now. Okay, now my cat is not capable of opening cabinet drawers. And I'm thinking, okay, something's going on here. I'm having a heart attack, and something's in my house. All this is going on at once. I look out the door. There's the cat standing in the doorway, and he's looking back towards the kitchen. And then I hear the sound again, and so I'm realizing now it's not the cat. I'm still stuck in this bed. It's not the cat because he's standing in the doorway looking towards the kitchen. So it's me, the cat in the house, and something else. I'm pinned to this bed, and I can't get up. And then all of a sudden, the cat retreats into the bedroom where I'm at, jumps up on the bed beside me, and I still can't move. But the cat moves moving around 2 feet from me like there's no problem, And there's stuff. All of a sudden, I see whatever was in the kitchen came into the living room across from the room that I was laying in, and it run by the door so fast that you couldn't even see it. I mean, you could just see a black, brownish streak. And I was like, I don't know what can move it fast. I mean, I used to be a trapper back in the day. You know, I know how fast coons and other animals are, and I've never seen anything move like this. And then there was another. So there was two of them. You know, so I'm clinging to the hope that this is squirrels or raccoons or something, something explainable. But I'm pinned in this bed. I'm paralyzed in this bed. But I'm looking. I can see out of my doorway into the living room, and this thing is running back and forth. And then all of a sudden, I seen one of them run sideways across a vertical wall.
Wow.
Okay, I was clinging to the hope something explainable. But now, when I seen that thing run across the vertical wall, I pretty much at this point realized that this probably has more to do with what went on last night than having a raccoon in my house.
Dude, that you had way too much to drink, Ronnie. One of the two.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and at this time, I'm not even drinking. I don't even drink. So,
wow.
Yeah, I don't drink or use drugs or have any excuse for what's going on here other than I'm messing with ET and ET's messing back.
Yeah.
And I seen it run across the wall, and then at one point I seen it run straight up the wall, push off the ceiling, and run straight back down, and almost like gravity didn't even affect it. There's two of them running around.
Wow.
Lightning fast.
That's
and I'm paralyzed in the
terrifying. Ronnie, don't tell us that. We don't want to know. I'm just kidding.
And I'm thinking, as long as they can do whatever they want, as long as they stay out of this bedroom where I'm at, you know, just stay.
Well, they obviously hadn't.
Well, all of a sudden, one of them stopped right in front of the doorway, 10 feet from me. It stopped. It was on all fours, and then it reared up on two legs. It was about 2 feet tall, and it had like a exoskeleton, like a shell on it, and the shell itself had thorns on it, thorn-like appendages that stuck up like a rose that had a bend to them. And this thing had a face like a grouchy old man. Like it had big eyes, but they were tight. Like the little bit of light in the room was hurting its eyes. It had a really tight mouth. It had like a human-looking nose. It looked a lot like your typical gray, except for this thing was like 2 feet in height at the most. So it was very small. And
Wow.
it ran on 4 legs. And then it stood up on 2 legs.
4 legs. That's weird.
And it had
Right?
these extremely long arms, but the appendages, the hands on this thing look more like insects than hands. And I sit there and looked at that thing, and it scared the hell out of me. And I'm thinking, my God, I hope this thing don't come in here. And the other,
Oh
and it
my
almost,
God! It's like
it
a
looked back at
palmetto
the other
bug on steroids.
they looked back at the other two, and they were almost like running around, not really doing anything, but like playing chase. Well, all of a sudden they started going through drawers again. They started searching cabinets and stuff. They knocked the lamp over on my computer desk. They broke the bulb in it, and they broke a few things that they had knocked over. And I heard them opening the drawers to there was some cabinet drawers in there that they had opened, and I could hear them opening and closing. And then this thing looked at the other two, and then all of a sudden I seen him. He turned towards me, and all 3 of them streaked underneath the bed that I was laying on. I'm still paralyzed on this bed. I cannot move, man. Okay, well now these guys, they're bouncing me, the bed frame, the whole freaking bed off the floor. They're like picking it up off the floor, slamming it back down, and I'm bouncing on top of the mattress like a popcorn. And I'm bouncing, and I'm still paralyzed. And the cat, he hauls out. He takes off out of that door and is sliding around the corner. And I don't see anything take off after him. But as soon as the bed starts bouncing, he exits the room, sliding
that
around
cat's
the corner.
a traitor. The cat's a traitor.
Right.
That's kind of the way I felt, man. It was like he could at least put up a fight for me or something. But no, he just abandoned ship. And I don't blame him. If I was him, I probably would have done the same thing.
Let me ask you a question, Ronnie. Let me ask you a question. Now, this creature you were talking about, does he look like a pugwidgie?
Yeah, he didn't have the long. It wasn't like a long hair on him. It looked like a shell. Like it looked like some kind of like a shell with thorns on it. It didn't look like hair at all.
Okay.
But yeah, this, as far as the way that thing looks, is very similar. But this thing had a tight nose. It didn't have a long nose.
Okay, because pugwidgies they're known to be like everywhere, and we have them here in New York, from what I understand as well. But they're like 2 feet tall, and they're like weird little creatures.
Yeah, well, there were 3 of them. There were 3 of them that
Wow.
were running around crazy.
Yeah.
But they started bouncing the bed. Well, I thought then they clawed up into the box springs, and I could hear them clawing at the wood underneath the box springs, underneath the mattress, like they were trying to claw through the mattress underneath me. And I was scared to death that they were fixing to claw through that thing and tear me up, because I could feel them clawing up underneath there. I could feel them pulling and stuff being ripped and torn. And I thought, oh my God, they're gonna kill me. I've got to do something. I was panicking at this time, and I'd been angry and panicked for so long. You can be angry and panic for so long, but after a while, you just turn into a fit of rage. And I just was getting mad. I was either kill them or they were going to kill me. It was life or death at this point. And I was getting really furious. And I decided I was going to break free from whatever's holding me. I was going to grab a golf club out of the golf bag in the corner, and I was going to go to town on these guys. And I tried to break free from the force that was holding me so hard that I almost had a heart attack. It felt like my heart just about stopped. It hurt me so bad that I thought I was going to die. And I thought I'm completely at their mercy. I mean, I can do absolutely nothing. I'm completely at their mercy.
That's terrifying.
I had tried with all my might to do this, to break free, and it almost killed me. It felt like, and all of a sudden they stopped. I heard them messing around where the gun cabinet case was right next to me.
Ooh.
And I was thinking, this thing is locked. The laser that I shot last night was in there. And it kind of occurred to me, it said, I bet you they're after the laser. They're wanting to I shot the laser at their craft the night before. They're going to steal the laser or whatever. Hope they take it or whatever, just as long as they leave me the hell alone. And I heard them messing around over there. And then the next thing I know, everything stopped. I didn't hear them. I didn't hear them leave. I didn't hear anything. Everything got quiet. And then the weirdest thing happened. It was like they released me from being held. And all of a sudden, my body was like a robot. I jumped up out of that bed. I grabbed the golf club out of the corner, and I was furious. And I started cussing. And went on. And then I tried to do this 5 minutes earlier. It was like they had stopped what was being processed in my mind, and when they released me, it was the first thing that got processed. So now I'm holding this golf club, and I'm angry as hell. And I thought, well, I might as well go on an alien hunt now that I'm ready and armed. So I went through my house. Every cabinet and drawer in the whole house was open. I searched all the dark corners and hiding places for aliens, and I didn't see them anywhere. And I eventually made my way back to the bedroom where I was at, and I realized that these guys probably had stolen the laser. But when I got to where the laser was kept, there it was. They had unlocked the gun cabinet that was locked somehow, and the laser was still in there. So they did not steal the laser, but they may have examined it or something, but they did not take it.
Wow. All right. So Cindy, with that, all you gotta do is go out and come back in. That's what'll happen.
It's just that I'm not even in it. It's just you see what I mean? Just what's being seen.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's us.
Wow.
That's us live.
Oh, because I'm seeing it.
Here, listen.
They may have examined it or something, but they did not take it.
Wow. All right.
Look at us.
Cindy, with that. Wow. Yeah, mine's working fine.
That's weird.
Yeah, mine's working fine. Yeah. Well, let me see. So, how long do you think that lasted? 20 minutes, an hour, half an hour?
I think the whole thing might have lasted, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes tops.
Okay.
God dang.
Well, that's still a long time.
10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, it is scary. First off, you're thinking, well, first I can't get off my bed. I'm pinned down to my bed, almost like
that's terrifying. I've been there.
Yeah, so that's what they almost like sleep paralysis. So you can't move. Yep. The cat runs away, leaves you hanging. Then you got all these little things crawling around and bebopping around in your room, and then all of a sudden they just leave. That's weird.
You know,
Well,
It's just
you know,
strange.
I need to go
I
get
went to the
cookies.
hole.
Okay.
I went to the hole that I had
I'll be
patched
right back.
earlier that day with the tin over it,
Mm-hmm.
and the tin had been pulled up from the floor. The screws that were holding it into the wood had been pried up, and the tin was actually bent. Something had pulled so much force on it that they had pulled the tin up from the floor. So that kind of led me to believe that they had probably came in the house earlier, had taken the cat, drug him back underneath the house.
Maybe.
And whenever I had patched their hole, they had forced their way back up through it to where I was at, and then
But
escaped
that's
through the same hole.
strange. That's strange. Why would they do that, though? I mean, why would they take the cat?
Yeah, and I was kind of confused too, because if they could unlock a gun cabinet, why don't they just unlock one of the doors and go through the door? You know,
Yeah.
Go through all the trouble of clawing a hole through the floor.
Wow, that's
You know,
strange.
so it don't make sense. You know, it didn't make sense at the time. It still doesn't make
No.
sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. All right. Well, you hold that thought, because we got to go take a quick commercial break, and then we have questions that are collecting over here on the side. So guys, that's also a note for you guys in the chat room to get your questions together, because some of them we've missed and we're not going to be able to go back to them, I don't think, but we'll try. So we're going to take a quick break. Probably less than a minute. So everybody just hold tight, and we'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, yeah. Life just got sweeter now that WLFE DB has merchandise. Show your support by purchasing your t-shirts for WLFE, Paratalk Radio, Inside the Drag Closet, and more. But it doesn't stop there. T-shirts, coffee mugs, tanks, buttons, cloth bags, and more. Go to WLFE-DB.com. On the top bar, click on the merchandise tab, and bam, there you go. You got merch. Support the shows. WLFE-DB.com. WLFE-DB.com, where you can find vodcast shows, podcasts, and more, like Where's My Sage, Inside the Drag Closet, Across the Pond, Paratalk Radio, Just Cindy, and more. So go check out WLFE-DB.com, where talk radio is a whole lot better. Our shows are your shows, and that there makes for a great talk radio.
Hey guys and dolls, this is Casey DeVille, the better half of DeVille Inc., Baltimore, Maryland. If you're ever in Baltimore, stop in and see me and Tony. Invisible Bree, 5920 Eastern Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Give us a call if you're in the area, 410-400-9641, or look us up on the web at DeVilleInc.com. DeVille Inc., where we specialize in you.
Ted Van Son Jr. is a seasoned investigator and well-versed in the ways of paranormal investigation. He is now ready to share his ideas and unique approach with all of you. Flashlight, recorder, and comfortable shoes. Hit the ground running as you follow this easy step-by-step guide to a fun and thorough paranormal investigation, perfect for first-time and lightly seasoned investigators. Think outside the paranormal box. Learn all about the technology and techniques used back in the early days of paranormal investigation. You can find these valuable resources online at Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and Amazon. Get yours today.
Hi, I'm Jenna Grover. In the world of fashion, we get lost in the cost. Everyone wants that special piece of quality jewelry, but they can't afford it. Not on my watch. I sell handmade quality jewelry for a fraction of the price, and that includes jewelry made of sea glass, natural stone, crystal beads, glass beads, Bigfoot jewelry, and more. If you don't see what you want, email me, because I make custom jewelry too. Check out my website at gbythesea.com. Also, you can email me at jewelry@gbythesea.com.
You're listening to WLFE DB Radio. Now, back to our program.
I want Cindy's cookie. Oh my gosh. I mean, guys, this is like, Ronnie's story is amazing. There's a lot of detail and stuff
And
in there that.
terrifying.
Well, yeah, and you know what? We don't hear, like, when we interview other people with UFO stories and stuff, we don't hear this much detail. I have to say that, Ronnie, you have a lot of detail for what you're telling us. So this whole thing that you're going to be doing with this lecture, you got it, buddy. Don't worry about it. Don't be nervous. You'll be fine. That's
I agree,
amazing.
but I want to know about your friend.
Yeah, so you
How's
said
your
that.
friend doing? Like after this all happened, like, what did he think?
Yeah.
Yeah, it scared him pretty bad because he's afraid they might pay him a visit at his house, and so he basically turned his house into an iron fortress. He redid his locks, he changed his doors.
I don't blame him.
Right.
And,
Who could blame him?
And he was my cameraman for the UFO. I have this UFO video that I made on YouTube that's got like 900,000 views. And he was the cameraman on that video. And during the footage at 1:33, we caught this anomaly. It was like ET was trying to show us that he was watching it. And the name of the video is "Man Escapes Alien Abduction," with pictures to prove it, and it's on my Ronny Lawson YouTube channel. It has 906,000 views.
Wow!
And at 1:33, there's an anomaly. We caught an anomaly in it, and also on my YouTube channel, we slowed the anomaly down and we turned the brightness up all the way where you can really see it, and you can almost see an alien in the video. And Alan told me, he goes, I think I seen a ghost while I was filming this thing. And I said, what? He goes, right behind your head, there was a ghost. I said, a ghost? And he goes, yeah, I swear, man. I said, you caught it on camera? He goes, yeah, I caught it on camera. We never could find it when we posted the video to YouTube. And I didn't know what to really think about it. But once we posted it on YouTube, other people found it. And then I think another one of my videos is called Extraterrestrial Caught on Camera.
What is your YouTube name?
My what? Excuse me?
Your YouTube name?
It's just a Ronny Lawson YouTube channel.
So
I think I've got like 1,250,000 views on my channel.
Oh,
and a lot of my footage is there. You can see a lot of my footage and stuff there. And this thing is it's some of the anomalies that we've been seeing around my house since I seen the UFOs and the aliens came and visited my house. And I'm pretty sure they're hanging out watching me. Well, I know for a fact they are, because in 2017, in August 2017, they came and paid me a little visit. It was the first time that I've had the face-to-face with ET. And it happened right here at my home in Ranger, Texas, right outside where I'm sitting now. And that was the weirdest thing, the way this happened. So I think what these little aliens that came in and invaded my house, I think they're subservients that work for these other guys. And I think the Greys are too. I think the Greys are like they're viral and bacterial resilient, and they use them to gather DNA from genetic samples. And that's the way these little guys are. They're like expert recon team is what they were. You know, they got sent by something else. I don't think these guys are the intelligent guys that visited me later.
Yep.
These
I just
are
thought
the same ET.
907,000 people have watched your video.
Yeah, and that video was recorded on a cell phone inside my house. Yeah. Not a professional at all, you know. In fact, we showed the screen of my computer. We showed the monitor. You know what I was showing people was I couldn't figure out how to take it from one format to another. So we just had to film my monitor to show you what I wanted to show. And we zoom in close on the ET inside the craft, and that's what had everybody's attention was you get to see ET first time up close and personal.
Wow, that's crazy.
And the ET in that craft is the same one that came and visited me in August 2017 in my bedroom.
Wow.
Inside my home. And there was two of them. And one of them was a tall blue lady, and the other one was a cat lady. And this cat lady had a mouth like a cat. She looked like a human. She had hands and legs like a human. But the tip of her nose and her mouth turned into a cat's mouth right there. She looked like a human right up to the point where you start coming down her nose, and her upper lip even had whiskers in it.
I'm curious about the blue woman you saw. What did she look like?
The blue woman, it turns out she was the same woman that I had. She was the same alien that was in the craft that I had caught the picture of. In August 2017, they came and see me, and I seen that on her right cheek she had like a ruby, like a big red ruby glued to it. And at the first I thought it was a birthmark, but when I got a better look at it, it was like a huge ruby that was glued to her cheek. And then she had what looked like a diamond or something that was glued to her forehead. And then on her, see her only be on her right cheek. On her right cheek, she had like a tattoo of, it looked like a flower of some sort. But on the left cheek, there was this ruby that was glued, and then on the center of her forehead was like a diamond-looking thing that appeared to be glued to it.
Wow.
It's interesting. I want to see something. Hang on one second.
She had blue skin. Yeah, she had a light blue skin.
Yes, I call them the blue ones. Yes.
And she had short, dark black hair, and she was probably 6'6" tall, because I was within a foot of her, and I got really close to her and looked at her eyes. She had these big, huge eyes that were full of eye. I mean, it was her iris filled the whole eye socket. It wasn't like the white of our eyes. She had very little white on her eyes. It was almost full eye, and they were huge, and they were not dark black. They were blue, and they had these white specks in them. And I got really close to her and was looking at them, and it kind of freaked her out. Like, she's like, what are you doing? You know, she didn't like me being that close to her, but I was really trying to get a good look at her eye. Her eyes were really beautiful and large. And I said, I'm just trying to get a look at your eyes. I said, they're beautiful. And and she said, tell the people of your world, she said, all we ask is, she said, when we make contact, she said, be sure and tell them all we ask. She said, and this is one of the reasons that I've been talking to people, is because they asked me to tell everyone. I think this is like the first rule of contact. She said, tell them that we want no physical contact unless explicit permission is given. You know, so no physical contact either way unless you ask and permission is received.
There's a reason for that, because I had been given information a while back, which was that the Greys were supposed to be expelled from Earth. They weren't supposed to be here anymore because they were taking people without consent, without knowledge, and they didn't want to have anything to do with it. And other alien species, races, they were kind of kicking them out because of the way that ethically they were acting, right? So these other alien species were kind of protecting us, and that they were not going to allow any kind of abductions against our will, basically, without our knowledge, without our permission. So that just goes with what I had received several years ago. That's crazy to me. That's crazy.
But we probably had a 40-minute conversation with them. Yeah, and we covered a lot of territory and very quickly. And I remember I was at a UFO conference in Roswell, New Mexico, and I actually got to talk to Stanton Friedman, and I was talking to somebody else too. And I said, you know, if I get a chance to talk to these guys, I said, what should I ask them? You know, I said, I'm just an old truck driver with a high school education. I said, and I asked Stanton Friedman, I said, what should I ask these guys if I get a chance to talk to them? And he said, tell them to show you how they got here, you know? And I thought, well, that'd be a pretty good question, I guess, to ask DT if you got a chance to talk to him. And so one of the things I asked him, I said, is it possible that you can show me how you got here? And she said, yeah, I can show you how we got here. And she said, okay. She said, you can see where we came from just by going through this wall. And they said, look, right here, you can move through solid matter. And and you can move through solid matter. At one point, they had me put my hand on the cat lady's face, and she told me to push. And my hand, I could feel her hair, I could feel her face, and she said, "Now push." My hand started sinking into her head. And I could feel her skull, and I pushed a little further, and I could feel the moistness of her brain matter inside her head, and it was almost gross.
You could
And I
feel
pulled my hand
it.
back out, going, "Man, that is like gross." But my hand wasn't wet at all. I could feel it, but I couldn't touch it.
Wow.
And she said, "Look," she said, "just if you want to see where we came from, you just have to move through this wall." And okay, right there, they told me to walk through the wall, and right there where I was supposed to go, I have a glass pitcher. I have a pitcher that's got a glass face on it, and my face was touching this glass. And she said, "Go, you'll be all right. You can move through solid matter here. Just go." They were getting impatient, like we're on a timeline. You need to go ahead.
You
And
need to hurry this up.
I started pushing against it, and the glass started going into my nose, going into my face. I could feel it going through my brain matter. I mean, it didn't hurt, but it felt very unnatural and uncomfortable. I was moving through the sheetrock. I could feel the sheetrock moving through my intestines. And it was, like I said, a very uncomfortable feeling. You could just stand there, but you wouldn't want to. I mean, it was uncomfortable. And as I was going through the wall, I could feel a stud inside the wall hit me on my right shoulder. And I had to struggle a little bit harder just to get through that stud. It's like you have mass, but you don't have a lot of mass, and you have to struggle through things. The more solid object is, the harder you have to struggle through it.
Interesting.
And so I was going. I think there was a misunderstanding. I think she meant for me to go through the wall and look on the other side of the wall, not walk through the wall. But I walked through the wall. I mean, I took a step too far. The next thing you know, I'm floating in outer space, zero gravity. I'm doing this slow forward head flip. Off to my left, there's a planet right off to my left. I mean, close. And it has three major continents. It has these very thin oceans. It has this frosty south and north pole. And you can see a thin beach beside the oceans around the equator line. And then up towards the poles, it looked like steep cliffs that were dropping off. It was a large desert area, a small, look like a jungle close to the water. And I mean, I'm taking all this stuff in from outer space, man, while I'm doing this forward head flip. Looking up at the sky, it looks just like our sky. You can see stars, but the thing is, in their sky, man, you can see a black hole. It's like they're close to the galactic center. You can see all these suns trapped in the grasp of a black hole right in there, and there's so much light coming from these stars that it never could get dark there because there's just too many stars in the sky at night. And it's casting the light. So I'm taking all this in. I'm doing this forward head flip. Well, this ugly rocky moon goes floating between me and the planet. And I mean, it looks like, I think it's Titan or something like that. There's a moon of Mars. It's just an ugly rock. Very similar to that. I mean, it's just like a solid piece of rock goes floating by.
Wow.
I could see another moon over there catching the light of a sun that at first I thought it was their sun, but then I realized that it was another moon. It was like there was two moons. The rocky one that had went by, and then a moon that was catching the light from a sun that was blocked.
Wow.
That was being blocked from my view by the planet itself. And so I'm out here, and I'm sitting here. I'm doing this forward head flip now. Okay, I'm coming. My head goes down. I'm coming back up, and I'm going. Oh my God! I need to remember everything I'm seeing here because it's important.
Right.
And as I'm coming back up, I said, "Now is my chance to look at what I just came out of." Right. I'm looking at, is it a spaceship? What? So I'm coming back up and I'm looking where I just walked out of. It's a completely black box. It looks like it's made out of like crystal, a black crystal floating in outer space with not a light one on it. Just a big black square crystal box floating in orbit was where I had walked out of.
Like a door, like
Interesting.
like Twilight Zone door. That's what it kind of made me think of.
And
it just kind of like goes in just floats around.
And she said, "Yeah, it's like a Stargate chamber of sorts." And she said that the black material is actually it's a protection. It's to keep bacteria and viruses from entering different places. It's keeping them from contaminating us and us from contaminating them.
Wow.
It's like a biocontainment. It's the reason it's contained in the black crystal.
Wow.
And anyway, I'm wondering how the hell am I going to get back in the ship, because I'm floating in outer space now. I wasn't cold. I'm floating in zero gravity out in outer space off this place. I didn't recognize any stars or anything in the world that I could recognize.
And obviously you can breathe.
I could breathe. I didn't need air, But you have to realize where I was at, they pulled me out of my sleeping body. They pulled my spiritual consciousness out of my sleeping body.
So it's like the astral body.
And they showed me, there's your body right there. You're fine. You're fine, And they showed me that we can move this solid matter here. She said that this is where the people from your world and the people of our world are going to meet, because this is the place
that's exactly
where we're safe from bacterial and viral harm.
And the funny part is I was going to tell you guys that when I had my communication, it was in the dream world. It was actually the astral plane.
Astral, that's what I was thinking when he was talking about.
It was
the astral
plane. And you are saying the exact same thing with things that I have experienced on the astral plane with these. I've always called them the blue ones. There's several alien species.
They drugged me out of my body. Yeah, they had me by the arms. And they were pulling me out of my sleeping body. And when I awoken, these two women are grabbing my arm, and one of them looks at me. I slipped out of their grasp and went right back into my body. And then all of a sudden they had me again, and they're pulling on me. And this time one of them told me in English, she said, help us. And I struggled with them. I struggled to get loose from whatever. It felt like I was crawling out of a manhole. But after they pulled me loose, I realized it was my body. My physical body was sleeping in the bed, and it was my, I don't know what you'd call it. I think
astral body is what I would be thinking.
It's your astral body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they told me, I said, when it come time to leave, and it was time to go, they said it's time, to go back. And they had me lay on top of myself, and I did not just sink back into myself. They had me get back up again. They told me to leap onto yourself with some force. And when I did, but before I did it, I said, I'm afraid when I go back in there, I'm not going to remember any of this conversation. And she goes, no. And she said, this is not a sleep state. This is an alternate reality. She said, you'll remember everything about what we experienced and everything that we had a conversation about. And the people of your world will do the same when we meet. When we meet in this place, the people of your world will remember every aspect of the conversation.
I wish I could remember all of it. I can't, because it was while my physical body was sleeping, but I don't always remember everything, all parts of the conversation. I remember specifically what I explained earlier, but I don't remember a whole lot after that. I remember us standing on this lookout, and we were looking out over this other, I don't even know what it was, because I can't begin to express it or explain it. It's like we were standing on a rock or a mountain or something, looking out across the vastness of where we were. And I know I was not here on Earth. I know I was not here.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get to a question from Chanel. She wrote this back a while ago, and I don't want to forget about it. And make
Gregory,
sure that
hey Greg, how are you? Greg says alien babies.
There you go. All right. So Chanel's question to you, Ronny, is: so have you had any loss of time or scars that you can't explain?
I haven't had any loss of time, but I had some marks because in February 2020 they took me again. And they apologized this time. They said they had to give me a vaccination to protect their interests, and they pulled me out of my body. And I looked at my leg. I thought it was my astral body, but actually what it was a clone. They had cloned me from the 2017 visit, and they had made a clone on an alien planet, and they had put my physical consciousness into this clone.
Wow! So now there's two of you.
When I looked at the back of my leg, there was nothing on it. And she said, no. She said, I mean your body. She said, I mean you back there. And whenever I came back, the next morning, my wife, she said, looked, she said, what's that on the back of your leg? And I looked at the back of my leg, and it'd been scratching and itching real bad. And there's these 3 marks.
Wow.
There was these 3 marks that made like a triangle on the back of my left knee. And that's exactly where she told me they had given it. And she said it was a vaccination to protect their interest. Now, vaccination of what? I have no idea. I don't know if it was like the coronavirus.
Against the corona.
I've been around it, but I haven't caught it. So, whatever they did must have worked, because I've been up close and personal with it, but I haven't caught it.
Has anybody else around you caught it, though, that you've been in contact with?
Well, yeah, there's people been all around me that have gotten it. People I've been in close contact with have gotten it.
Wow.
But I've never gotten it yet. No, not yet, I haven't.
Wow.
She can say for a fact that's what it was, but I have to assume that possibly that's what it was. Or it could be something else. Maybe I was fixing to get sick some way and they didn't want it to happen yet or something. I don't know.
Okay, so you just had another experience in 2020, and this has been happening since 2010, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said?
Yeah, 2009 I started seeing the mystery
2000.
lies.
Okay, so
2010 was the home invasion, and 2011 was the mothership flyover.
Okay, so now you still work for the same company?
Yes.
So has anybody else experienced anything? Like what you have?
No, nothing. Like, people have seen the mystery lights that they call them or whatever, but nobody's seen no UFO craft, and nobody's seen no aliens or nothing like that.
I really believe
So
that
it's like they kind of
they
honed
want
in
to
on
be
me.
shown to.
What'd you say, Cindy?
I really believe that they only want, they'll show themselves to who they want to be shown to.
Well, we know that from, like, I've been reading this other book. I should have brought it in with me, but I didn't. Where they were saying that we know that with first visitation, like Ronnie's first visitation. So now from what I understand with reading with all this other information, that now they're going to continue to visit him, and family could actually become part of that visitation.
It's a DNA genetic thing, and I told you that before, Teddy, that a lot of times it's in the DNA, it's genetics, and because it runs on my mother's side, my mother has at least one sibling that I know of, because I did a past life regression, that they have that on their side, that she has it on her side.
Yeah, Gregory actually brought up, I had an out-of-body experience when I was a kid. It was super weird, but I didn't realize what had happened actually happened until I was in my 20s.
It's funny because that happens a lot. We don't realize that we have slipped out of our body. We don't realize all the stuff that can happen. And I do know exactly that feeling of that you're talking about. Like, I understood completely that feeling of being able to walk through mass and through things, right?
Right. Well, and within astral projection, I can see that, because even in meditation you can do that stuff. So I mean, there's a lot of things like that. Your story is amazing, to be honest with you. I'm glad you put all this in the book, right?
Oh yeah. But recently, the great thing about an ebook is, as things happen, you can keep putting stuff in it.
Right.
And I've just put the stuff that happened in February 2020 in it, so it's better than ever now.
Oh,
better
awesome.
than ever.
That's amazing that you can keep like editing and going.
Yeah,
back
you can.
Adding to.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I can do it with my books too. Yeah,
I
can
didn't
do
know
with mine.
that.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
So my concern is like, now, Ronnie, this could happen to you for the rest of your life. I mean, how are you mentally dealing with all this?
Well, it's a big responsibility. I see it as a big responsibility, because I know when I'm just an old truck driver with a high school education, but I know when I'm talking to these beings that I represent every man, woman, and child on planet Earth. And I have to put aside what I think and what I have to put aside my fear and say, man, I represent every one of us, and if this works out, for the good. It can be for the good of mankind. I mean, so I have to be careful not to piss anyone off. Not
Right.
like Ronnie does, because Ronnie can be an a-hole at times. So Ronnie
So
has
can
to
Cindy.
Right.
I love that you said that, though. I love that you said that you had to put your thoughts aside to speak and say what they had to tell you. It's like you have to suspend believability, right? It's the thing.
Yeah,
is,
and
we think we're watching a movie, right? Because in movies we have to suspend believability, right? We have to just go, okay, none of this matters. All it is that we're viewing this, right? And that's really what it is when it comes to the interactions between alien life forms and ourselves. A lot of people don't understand that. So I fucking love that you just said that, Ronnie. That is amazing. You have to suspend your belief and your thoughts on the matter. I love that. It's the truth.
And I told him, I said, I'm willing to do whatever it takes for the people of your world and the people of our world to come to know each other. And they've taken me up on that. And I've had to do some pretty weird stuff. I've do everything they've asked me to do. So far, I've done anything they've asked me to do, but they've always given me the option not to do it.
We are
So there
not
hasn't been
it, but I haven't yet. I've done everything they've asked me to do.
Okay, so there hasn't been
And I think
anything.
they appreciate that. So
there hasn't been anything real traumatic or horrifying for you. Nothing disturbing.
Yeah, a little bit disturbing. A little bit disturbing. Like I said, they made that alien clone. That alien clone had a 17. They had augmented a 17-inch penis onto it. And I was there to perform a function test with another cat lady alien, and in a surgical room setting. So, man, you talk about weird. That is a weird circumstance to be in.
Wow.
I pulled it off. It was very weird. But hey, I'm willing to take one for the team, man.
Right.
I took one for the team.
Have you told your
Team
wife
Earth.
the story? How did she feel about it?
She said, as long as your physical body wasn't there, she said, I guess it'd be all right.
It's not cheating if you're astral. It's only cheating
That's
if
right.
you're physical.
Right. My wife owns my physical body, but she can. The astral body it can do weird stuff, I guess.
You're right. We can astrally do.
Well, Farmer Damon Bard put on here, I don't talk about what happened in June 2005 in northern Minnesota, but he says we are not alone.
No, we are not.
So apparently somebody else has had an experience as well.
All right, do tell.
When it comes to alien sex, a lot of people have talked about it, and I always thought it was crazy until I actually lived it. There is something going on with the cat species. They are having some kind of biological difficulties now, and they told me they need huge biological samples from the masses, and they asked me if the people of Earth would be willing to donate biological samples to help them. And I thought if once they made open contract, I believe they would.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, we've heard over the years with stories about being probed and having, certain microchips put in or pieces of metal. And we've heard, sexual encounters between human and alien. We've heard, all that stuff. But wow. I mean.
Robert says, badly attached, ? If he pulled it off.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta ask, how many people...
If it was attached, he pulled it up.
Yeah. How many people look at you, Ron, though? I mean, to be honest with you, look at you and go, this is too far-fetched. What do you have to say to them about that?
Well, I've had to put that aside. What other people think is that, I have to realize, man, I'm representing everybody here, and it's for the greater good of everyone that I stay in good with these guys.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't matter what other people think about. I mean, I'd like people to like me. I'd like people to believe me, but I think it's way more important that the ET continue to like me and I continue to work with them under good circumstances, if that's at all possible, and try not to blow it, for everyone, for myself and everyone else.
They want you to share the story, apparently, because you're able to do it.
Well, she asked me to pass the word on to everyone, about the first rule of contact.
Right.
She wants everybody, I have to let everybody know that. I was tasked with that, and I can't do that by not speaking of it.
Right. My gosh, this is a lot to think of. I'm going to have to get his book because I want to read up more on this. I mean, this is amazing. Ron, would you come back again at another time?
Absolutely. I'm a busy guy. Hopefully we'll have some electricity so I can do it in the house.
Oh my gosh, I know, right?
Yeah, because we're coming to the end of the show, so I just want to, make sure that, oh, well, hold on here. Farmer Damon put something up here. Let's see what he says here.
Damon.
Around midnight 2005, middle of June, I was outside smoking a cigarette, heard something heavy running through the woods. It ran past the lodge, ran right underneath the light, and there it was, a gray alien. Following that gray alien, there was a reptilian alien chasing this one down to kill it. Wow.
Reptilians are supposed to be leaving as well. They were supposed to be kicked out. The Greys and the Reptilians. We're getting rid of the Reptilian. I told you this before, Teddy.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Chanel asked Ronnie about a sphere.
The sphere, there's a on his YouTube channel. It shows him sitting with another gentleman in a round metal sphere.
What I'd like to get back to, though, is real quick, is like these pictures. Ron, what is this thing that you drew? Is this the Catwoman or?
No, that's the blue woman.
That's the sketch. That's the sketch of the cat. I mean, that's a sketch of the blue lady that visited my room, and I believe that's the same ET that I caught the pictures of in 2011. So what you're seeing on the right is my sketch, and what's on the left is the 2011 picture that's inside the UFO looking out at me. I believe it's the same lady.
Oh, okay.
And you can see that it looks like the same lady. You can see the thing on her cheek.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then this one was.
That's aboard the mothership. Like I said, I caught a picture. I caught a video of that thing. We've been analyzing the video for years, and on the surface of that huge UFO mothership, there's this giant insectoid thing hiding in the background, and we've highlighted it as best we could. But this thing has to be as tall as a telephone pole, riding right on top of the surface of the craft, towering above the buildings on this craft's surface.
Wow.
And what it is, I don't know whether it's a real, but I mean, you can see that it may not be the clearest picture in the world, but it's clear enough to be frighteningly scary, and I guarantee you it's frighteningly real too, because those are real pictures of the real UFO. I saw it with my own eyes, and I caught it with my camera. And my camera, the pictures, what I was looking at with my eyes, looked just like the pictures that came in on the camera. And what you're seeing, I did not notice the thing in the background. I was just baffled by the size and of the craft. I was seeing it all in one picture. It would be like, I see the whole craft, not just what this is zoomed in on. So there's stuff on the surface of that craft that have never been touched by human hand, and it has to be an alien craft, no doubt.
Right. And that stuff is in the book, right? These are all taken from the book?
Yeah, the pictures aren't really, a lot of the pictures are in the book, or you can just, if you want to see the pictures, you can go to Ronnie Lawson UFO on Google Images.
Okay.
And all those pictures are there. And in the book, there are links. I think you click on the links and it takes you to the Google picture, I believe.
Okay. All right.
Put up Ronnie's book too.
Yeah, I see that. That's great. Farmer Damon put on there, the gray alien spotted me and started telepathically speaking. I had intense, I'm not sure what that word is.
I had intense pain.
Pain.
In the head.
It is. Okay. It looks like an L to me in the head. When he connected, I could see everything it was saying.
Wow, that's crazy.
We should have a talk there, Farmer Damon Bard. we should have him on the show. Talk about it. Wow.
Yeah, Ray.
All right. Okay. So, we're unfortunately we're at the end of the show. I got a few things to settle up with
Yeah,
Cindy here at the
I
end of the
agree.
show, and
Mhm.
Ronnie, amazing stories. We definitely want to have
Yes.
you back and talk about this some more.
We should, Damon.
God, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Oh, absolutely. Come and see me at the Lawson UFO MegaCon.
There you go.
I'll be one
Where
of
is
the
that?
featured speakers there. So that's my
Where is
first
that?
speaking engagement at the Laughlin, Nevada UFO MegaCon. It's
Okay.
going to be in June 6th to the 13th.
Oh,
Okay.
June 6th to the 13th. That's a long one.
In the Aquarius Casino.
Awesome.
Fun.
All right. Cool.
That sounds
Well,
like so much fun.
Do you have any more questions for him, Cindy?
Oh my gosh,
I know there's a lot.
It's nice for somebody to corroborate things I've already understood from them, right?
Right. And it's just for
That's
me,
right.
I mean, I think about everything he said, and it's just like there's a lot to take in. In just this short hour and a half here, he's filled us with so many things, so many amazing things. Barry Marsh said here, this was amazing with Ronnie tonight.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
very positive feedback tonight. So that it was great. It was very great. So well, I hope everything works out for you, Ronnie, with your electric and everything. And I hope things.
We're gonna send power your way.
Yeah, I hope it gets better.
Yeah, it's got to get better. Can't get no worse.
Right.
There you go. Well, stay in
Thank you
touch with
guys.
us.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely have you back, and man, take care of yourself, and
Yes.
we'll try and keep up with you as much as we can.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys.
Take care.
Thank you, Ronnie. We appreciate it.
All right. Later.
All right. Bye-bye. What an amazing
Is it
night.
wrong that I just wanted to say later, Tater?
Robert White says, good thing about clone sex, no alimony payments. Killing me there, Robert. So I have a surprise for Cindy. So guys, while we have this opportunity, we have just a couple minutes left.
That's interesting. It doesn't completely look like me, but it's close.
Yeah, that's the picture. That's what I got back. She's
I don't like the nose on it necessarily.
well,
that's not my nose.
Well, that's the picture. That's what we got of you. Oh yeah, no, you're not. Your nose isn't as round there.
My nose is not. Mine is quite pointy. No flaring nostril. Quite pointy.
Well, she did it. Other than that, I think she did a really good job. I mean, it looks
Look,
great.
she has a necklace on there.
Yeah, not bad for $40.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, so at least we have.
Wait, why was yours looked exactly like what the picture you gave? Why is mine different? I'm confused though.
Oh, they're all hand drawn.
Oh, it's hand drawn.
Yeah, mine looks like me to a point, but also looks like I have a black eye.
It's just shading though, I think.
Yeah.
Yours looks great. Yours looks just like your picture.
It looks pretty good. But so here's my thought. We get I want to do a set of mugs. I want to do one of yours and one of mine and give it away.
Can we have her fix my nose first though?
I can ask her. I mean, it cost me $40 already, so we'll see what we can do. So
well, she kind of
oh, but okay. Cindy, you look good. You look better in person, says Chanel.
Aw, thanks, honey. Thank you. I appreciate that.
But so what's going on with you? I mean, what you got coming up?
So I have tomorrow night as Teddy loves to call it, Taco Tuesday.
Yep,
Taco
Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till whenever. I went way too late last week, and I was on for 5.5 hours.
Holy shit, Berg.
I'm not kidding. 5.5 hours.
Wow.
It was ridiculously late. Dr. Mystical told me, he's like, you need to go to Twitch for those long ass spans that you That's like a Twitch streamer. You need to do that, honey.
Oh man, I love Doc.
I
He's
know,
so funny. He's so funny.
He is. He is. I love Doc. And so I'm gonna look into Twitch, I think. I'm gonna look into
Ah,
Twitch.
I did, but we ended up getting a lot. Like when we were using it here, we were getting a lot of
Spam?
a lot. Oh yeah.
Really? And that's
Yes.
what I said is like I don't want to get a bunch of spammer. I already get. So I did a show on Saturday night, a Valentine's show, right? I
Okay.
was on for a little over 5 hours for that show too. I didn't end till, let's see, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. Yep, it was right after 2 o'clock in the morning because I started at 9. And I had at least just about 20 spammers. I call them spammers, scammers, poachers, right? And they were all from Facebook. All from Facebook. At one point, I was getting rid of 3 at one time.
Wow.
3 were doing it at one time. And then I shut my show down. It's done. Do I not start getting another 3 to 5 spammers, scammers, poachers
Wow.
after I've ended my live? So I had
Wow.
25 that night.
We
It was
like
ridiculous.
the one for Twitch really sucks because you can't Twitch you can't just delete like we can from Facebook.
Well, I
So
know
it
Doc
was
said that for Twitch, he only allowed people that were following him or whatever. I'm not familiar with it, so.
yeah. So that was a little weird.
Yeah.
So one of the other things I wanted to talk about is we have a new show starting soon. I know that
Ooh.
you had
I had
talked
asked about it.
you had asked her and she didn't have an answer yet unless she messaged you, but it took me a while to get some information from her. So she's going to be on, so it's a new show. It's called Card Pulls and Coffee. She's going to be
Oh, so
on
she does tarot.
Yep. There's the picture. She does a lot of different things. She's I don't have all the information, but it's on the website if you guys want to check her out.
When is she going to be on?
She's going to be on Fridays from 7 to 8 to fill that spot, which is really cool. We are also working on 2 other shows. One of them is Robert White's show.
I love
Yep, we're working on his. He's just got to come up with a name.
Elmo.
Yep. And then we're trying to get the Fizzy Girls they want to do a show during the day, which would be great. I think so.
I probably could do something during the day, Teddy.
There you go.
Think about that.
Yeah, I mean, during the day, there's plenty of things, plenty of openings during the day.
I could probably do that because while the boys are at school, they're going to be, listen, the boys are going to start 4 days a week, March 15th.
Wow.
March 13th.
Wow.
They start back 4 days a week, and that's fantastic for mom.
So, and I was talking to another young lady who also would like to do something during the day. So I'm trying to fill up our day slots, and she does something similar to the Fizzy Girls, which would be very cool to kind of do like different shows during the day, for housewives and all that stuff. So, or house dads, because I know there's house dads too.
That's right,
so,
Teddy. That's right.
Make it fair for everybody. But
My
other
cousin
than
was a
that,
house dad for a long time. His wife was a lawyer, and he is like what do they call that? A mechanical engineer or he's something engineer, and he worked for Harley Davidson for a while, and I can't remember if he's back there, but I know that he was working for Harley at one time, but his wife made some decent monies, and it was good. He was able to stay with the kids when they were little, and he went back to work after and my cousin's birthday is soon. The 24th his birthday is, and my cousin and my brother are 6 months apart to the day, like my niece and my daughter are.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, same months. It was crazy stuff. 2 generations that it happened to.
Right.
That's not very normal.
One of the other things that's happening here, Wednesday at 7 o'clock, We have also
PM?
another new show. Yes,
Wednesday,
PM.
7 p.m.? Okay.
That is Meet the Author. That's a new show with the Carters, and they have
The Carters!
yes, they're going to be doing interviews with authors, and every Wednesday from 7 to 8, which is going to be awesome. Which I'm really excited about. I think that's going to be very, very cool. So we have
I
some
love the idea.
we have some new shows coming, and that's the best part of it. And then one more thing. Now, a lot of people have asked about Talk with Teddy, and Talk with Teddy is gone. It no longer exists, and it's not coming back. But
Wait, what's not coming back?
Talk with Teddy.
Teddy, I thought you were going to do one next month.
You're talking about this.
Yeah.
Yes, we are doing a special broadcast. It's going to be on March 6th, and it's a meet and greet and some of our special friends that we've met. It's our 1 year anniversary, and it's going to be a Talk with Teddy special broadcast. But we're not sure what we're going to call the show. It's going to be once a month, and it's going to be kind of just like, meet and greets and stuff like that. It's only, it's going to be different, and that's going to be right on the WLFE network itself, not on any other page. It'll be right there. So you'll have to come over there and watch it. So
I love that you're doing that still. I'm glad that you're doing it just for yourself, right?
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we have got to get out of here because Dom's show is coming up right now, and he's doing one with authors. In fact, I was invited to join that as well to talk about my two books. So, Cindy, you know what time it is.
I do, honey. Guys, I love you. Take care.
Yes,
Have a great
we
night.
love you guys, and thank you so much for hanging out with us each and every Monday. We appreciate it. If you have not
It's my 3-year
gone,
anniversary too.
yeah, and if you guys have not gone, shared, liked, or followed the WLFE page, please go do that for us. We're trying to get the numbers up there because that's where all the shows are streaming. And feel free to invite your friends.
3 years I've been here, my friends.
3 years.
3 years.
Oh, God, you're such
Can
a
you
card.
believe it?
I know. All right, guys, it's time for us to get out of here. So remember, wherever there is darkness, there is always
the
light.
Thank you for listening to Paratalk Radio with Ted Wolf and Psychic Cindy. Catch us next Monday for another fantastic guest. Please check out our show as well as others on the WLFE DB Radio Network. And remember, like, follow, and share with everyone.
Join us at WLFE-DB.com for upcoming shows and so much more.